Hey, and welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I'm covering Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 10, Episode 11, Kiss and Tell All, as well as Real Housewives of New York Season 12, Episode 15, Sheer Madness. So this episode's a little bit different because it was my daughter's birthday at the end of last week. So I wanted to make it special for her since we're stuck in quarantine, blah, blah, blah. I'm combining them just this once, but the episodes this week will go back to normal. So here we go. Let's get started. So here's the thing. Since I'm combining two episodes, and there were boring parts, mostly of Beverly Hills, I'm going to just jump ahead and get to the interesting stuff because we saw the Wilson Phillips concert. Cool. Let's move on to the good stuff here. So let's jump into the episode. I'm curious what you guys thought. Okay, so first of all, I thought it was a good episode. I'm mixed. Brandi bugs me, but she at least she brings some drama to the show, so I do have to give her credit on that. And normally, I wouldn't comment on somebody's looks. But, yeah, tell me what you think about this look. Facelift? I don't know. Botox, injections, filler, something's not right. She looks a little bit like Adrienne Maloof here, I thought. Was not a fan of this look at all. I was actually kind of shocked. What do you guys think? So the episode, starts off at the tail end of the black and white party. It's Teddi versus Camille and blah, blah, blah. We see Kim and Brandi see each other again, and Camille leaves, and there's a surprise performance from Wilson Phillips. We did see for a second Denise and Brandi and Aaron interacting, and Brandi's being a little bit weird, and anyway, so then not much else happens. So they we see Brandi wasted falling down, which we'll get to New York. It reminded me of New York. We see Dorit at her Buco de Beppo. But let's jump ahead to the Shoe Dazzle event. So we have Rinna in a wig. What did you guys think of this look? I thought she looked beautiful. I personally didn't love the wig on her. I think she's got such a small build. The hair kind of overpowered her. What'd you guys think, though? So this is where Rinna says that she wants the ladies to go on a trip before Erica leaves for Broadway. So they decide that they're going to go to Rome, which I'm completely jealous about. So they're headed to Rome. Dorit orders a drink and mentions that carcass out thing again, which is kind of weird. So definitely weird that they're showing that again. They talk about meeting the Pope and asking if anybody has connections to the Pope. Anyway, moving on. So Denise and Erica talk. Erica brings up Aaron and Denise shuts down. Now, I thought this was actually pretty interesting. Erica to camera says it's difficult to have a conversation with Denise. If she doesn't like what you say, she shuts down or she leaves. Erica's right. I mean, I like Denise a lot. I've liked her a lot better than Erica in the past. But I do think Erica's right on this one. That does seem to be what's happening. Erica says it takes work to be a good friend. Then we have Garcelle and Sutton. They're meeting up for drinks. Sutton's talking about missing Garcelle at Erica's event. They talk about just different stuff. Garcelle says, the way I was brought up, you don't talk about money, but I want to know, how'd you get your money? Where did all this money come from? Did you inherit it? Did you marry money? I want to know. Sutton says, I got married. My ex-husband did well. Turns out she was married for 17 years. Garcelle to camera says, I didn't ask her about the balance in her savings account, although I would love to know that. To which I say, me too, Garcelle, me too. I can't put my finger on it. It's just interesting the way that Sutton talks about money. It doesn't talk about money. I don't know. She said before about the ex-husband, and it's almost like they were surprised by it. Like, I don't know, maybe he earned it while they were together. Or maybe they just, like, started out not so rich and then got rich. It's weird, but she seems to live a very extravagant lifestyle, so she must be doing okay. I'd like to look at that savings account, too. I'd like to look at all their savings accounts. So then we go to Rinna's house, and Alexia comes over to talk to Amelia about where she wants to live now that she's back from NYC. I'm going to skip over this part, too. I just thought Amelia came off as very privileged and just sheltered. I don't know what the word is, just obnoxious. And so we're going to move on from that. So we see a packing montage. The ladies are all getting ready for Rome. Teddi comes over to Kyle's. They're discussing throwing Teddi a shower. And then Kim drops off some dresses that she borrowed. So this, I don't know why this bugged me, but it did. So the premise is Kim just stops by to drop off some dresses that she had borrowed from Kyle. They still had tags on them. What? Maybe she borrowed them and then didn't wear them? I don't know. It was kind of a weird premise. Kim says she can't leave Brandi in the car. So they ended up where she goes to get Brandi and brings her up while Kyle and Teddi are talking. So they talk about going to Italy. Kyle tells Brandi about Denise and all the stuff going on with her and Aaron and all that. Kim says Denise did something to Brandi and then trails off. Brandi says, be careful with Denise because she's not who she pretends to be. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Do you think, is Brandi just being thirsty here? That's kind of the vibe I got. I was all prepared. I don't know. I went in this with an open mind. I thought maybe there was something to the claims, and maybe there is. But I think Brandi's coming off as very thirsty. So I'm curious how next week's episode is going to go, because here I just felt like she's just dying for a storyline. Maybe they did kiss. Maybe they did hook up. I think Brandi's making it into a bigger thing for the camera, and I think it's kind of shitty that she's betraying Denise by talking about it truthfully. So Brandi says she starts telling the ladies things that Denise supposedly said about them. Like to Teddi, she said, "You're obnoxious. You lived under your dad's shadow your whole life." Did Denise say that? I don't know. To me, that sounds like something that somebody would say to get a reaction out of you. So I feel like maybe Brandi fabricated that. I'm sure they talk crap about Teddi. I talk crap about Teddi, but it's easy to do. But it just kind of feels like a stretch. So then Brandi goes on to further say that Denise says she doesn't like any of them, that she called Erika a cold bitch. Well, I don't know if that's so wrong, but I want to be a fly on that wall, man. I really do. I'd love to know what really happened here. I know we all would, but I just want to know. Okay, here's my thoughts. I think they did probably hook up. Good for them, whatever. I mean, and they probably talked trash about all of them. I'm sure Brandi was egging it on. Denise thought she could just talk freely to a girlfriend, and now Brandi's using it against her to be on TV, and Brandi's probably stretching it a little bit. That's my feelings. Very curious to know yours. It's just a vibe I get. I just like Denise, so I want this to be wrong. So Brandi goes on to tell this story about how she went to visit Denise at a set. They were going to do the podcast together, Brandi's podcast, and Denise asked her to spend the night, and it became a whole thing, and they got drunk, and they hooked up, and, whatever. They hooked up. It's fine. But the part I didn't like is Brandi then was crying, saying that Denise made her feel like the other woman, and that Brandi thought Aaron knew. And then when Denise said, Aaron will kill me if he finds out that they can't tell him that Brandi took it so badly. And if that's true, I understand why Brandi would take it badly. I just don't know if that's true. I don't know. I really need you to tell me in the comments how you feel about all this. Who do you think's telling the truth? So then they head off to Rome. It's most of the group that goes ahead and goes. Denise and Garcelle are leaving California together. It looks like a day or two after the other girls have gone. In Italy, we see a van where Teddi tells Rinna that Brandi said Denise has been saying awful things about each of them, and that Brandi and Denise had hooked up. And that's kind of where we leave the episode. So then we see a flash of next time. They're playing around Rome. They have a very interesting looking dinner. The ladies talk about the things that Denise supposedly said. Then Teddi says, you two had sex. Talking about, of course, Denise and Brandi. So I thought it was a good episode. I thought parts of it were dull at the beginning, but it picked up momentum. I am curious to see what the heck happened. I'm very excited for next week's episode, just to see how this all goes down. So I feel like this is what we've been waiting for all season. It's finally here. I'm excited to be here, I guess, and talking about it. And yeah, so that was Beverly Hills. So let's transition to New York, which I'm super excited to talk about. Then we go over to New York, and I just really like this episode. I am really not a fan of Ramona, and the fact that she loses her mind and threatens to quit the show at the end is amazing to me. So you can hear it in my voice. I'm very excited to talk about this one. So let's get into it. So Ramona, it's her birthday, of course. She's acting like a 5-year-old. She's being just a total ass, and there's a montage of her talking about her 60 girlfriends. 6 days until Ramona's party. She's showing Leah around the venue. She mentions her 60 girlfriends again. She wants the party to look like her living room. She says her girlfriends like to move around. Wow. So Sonja's back at her townhouse. She's not living there, but she explains that there's a leak. And also her renters fell through. They had a 5-year lease on the townhouse, and I guess it fell through. So now she's got to figure out something really quick. Poor Sonja, she's spiraling. Lou is, for whatever reason, I say this because it did not look natural at all, giving her dog a bath, and says, guess what? He's feeling Giovanni now. Ramona's acting insane. She's dancing around saying, I can't wait. And she's talking to Leah about what she's going to wear, and says Ramona says to Leah that she has great boobs and she wants them covered up. Don't flash them. And Leah says, I have to see what happens. Ramona's just threatened that somebody else might get a little attention. Speaking of attention, she's making everybody wear black, although Lou and Sonja don't get the memo. And she's wearing red. Sure. Ramona explains that normally she'd have Dorinda and Sonja with her, but she didn't like how they acted at that party planning store. So she brought Leah. She didn't like how they acted. It sounds like she was acting like an ass. Ramona says no drama at the party, and Leah has to be her protector, which is really funny, considering how it all goes down later. So we have Lou going over to the Fortune Society. She talks about being incarcerated, and she has her eyes on what people go through, even though she only spent one night in jail. So there's a scene where Ramona meets up with Mario and Avery, and I just can't care about them either. I think they all came across as so phony, and it was so staged, and I'm just not interested in spending any more time on that. We have Leah and her sister Sarah. They're going to the spa, and they sit in this hot tub, and they talk about Tinsley, and Leah tells her sister that she and Ramona had a good talk in the Berkshires, that Ramona encouraged her to reconnect with her mom. And then the sister Sarah drops a bomb that her mom says that she doesn't really like Leah that much, and that Leah's starting to look fake in the face, and poor Kier, which is Leah's daughter. Wow, if that's pretty awful if that's the case. Wow, that's pretty mean. Can we please kick Ramona off the show and get Sarah as a full-time cast member? I just think she's so much fun. So then it's the day of Ramona's party, and we get different scenes here. We got Dorinda's house. We have Sonja. We're flashing back and forth. At Dorinda's, she's saying something's going on with Sonja. They flash to an article of Sonja getting kicked out of a gay club. Dorinda says she went to see her speak at Wharton's, her and Lou. And then they show this flash of Sonja giving an insane speech. Lou and Dorinda ended up going home after that. Sonja stayed behind, and that's when she got kicked out. Back at Sonja's, we see her talking nonsense about her house. She wants everything to be white and brass. Can you imagine? That townhouse will be it's already dingy. White would show everything. I like the aesthetic of white, but I'm just thinking that townhouse is too messy to do white in. So Elise gets to Dorinda's house, and they tell her about the article about Sonja getting kicked out of the bar. Then they start talking about how bossy and judgmental Ramona's being. Leah relays that Ramona said not to wear something that she's spilling out of. Dorinda disappears and says she has exactly what she needs to wear. She brings out this lingerie, which Leah puts on over her clothes, which was pretty funny. So Elise is trying to defend Ramona, saying she doesn't mean to be hurtful. I find that really funny, especially since we know, of course, that they're no longer speaking. So it's funny how much she's standing up for Ramona and trying to have her back. Dorinda to camera says Elise has Stockholm Syndrome. Dorinda then goes and puts on the most insane dress with boobs attached that the girls were cracking up about, and teases about wearing that to the party. So it's the night of Ramona's party. Of course, everybody's supposed to be wearing black. We see that Sonja's in like sparkly blue, and I actually love Sonja's dress here. And Lou seems to be in brown. Sonja and Lou are talking about how Ramona keeps bragging about her friends. So then we're back at the party, and Ramona is greeting her quote-unquote friends. What's funny here is they have numbers by each friend she greets. Just to, go along with that. I have 50 friends, blah, blah, blah. Leah comes down the steps. These steps look awful. I would fall on my face if I was trying to walk down these steps, especially with the candles up and down the sides. That just seems dangerous. Leah's waiting to greet Ramona. Ramona's ignoring her and schmoozing, so Leah just ends up walking off. Don't blame her, would probably do the same thing. Sonja's acting crazy off to the side there, and Lou to camera says Sonja's going to the point where she needs to reel it in with her drinking, which is kind of funny coming from any of them because they all seem to have drinking problems this season. We have Ramona being over the top with the ladies here and hugging and stuff, and she's checking out Leah's dress. Leah looks fantastic. Ramona feels threatened. She doesn't like it. You can just tell by her body language here. It's very weird. Ramona makes a speech to her friends where she's just saying she loves herself. Sonja yells, "Here comes the waterworks." To camera, she says it's the same speech every year. Now I can get back to drinking. Dorinda sits Sonja down and says, "I feel like something's going on with you. I haven't heard from you in 4 days. What's going on?" She wants Sonja to call her when she's down. Lou joins in. They both say they're worried. Sonja's crying and saying she's scared. They're all, sad and trying to be there for her. Tone-deaf Ramona walks up with a new, I think she said Gucci purse, and they say, "Here you go with the fake friends." And then Ramona tosses the purse. I wonder how that person felt seeing that video. Listen closely. Sonja had a hilarious line where she says that purse is ugly as shit. Ramona says it's Gucci. Sonja says exchange it. We have the interesting part of the evening here. So Leah and Dorinda and it ends up being Elise as well, decide to give Lou a lap dance. So they're being silly, they're grinding on her and stuff. Ramona has an absolute shit fit. She freaks out. She says, she's freaking out and says Leah has a run in her stocking. I doubt that Leah's wearing stockings. And they talk about acting déclassé, and she's saying, stop it. She yells, stop it, get the effing producers here. Dorinda says, Leah can do no right now, and Ramona's yelling to stop production. And Ramona keeps saying, I will quit the show right now. I'm done. Again, I think it all stems to Ramona being upset because she's not the center of attention at her party here. So, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I actually found it hilarious. And then Sonja gets up on top of this mirrored tray and is just stomping it to pieces, breaking it up. And Ramona's just freaking out. So we see a flash to next time. Ramona's talking shit about Sonja. Ramona saying someone, I don't know who she's talking about, is bipolar and on meds and can't mix alcohol with meds. They go to Mexico, they're drinking, someone's drinking Coke and rosé. And then it looks like it's going to be Ramona versus Leah, and I can't wait. I thought tonight was great. I'm very excited for the next episode. This whole season has been kind of wild, so I'm very excited to see where they go. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, sorry I had to do a combo recap this week. I just couldn't leave it hanging. I was dying to discuss. And I appreciate you guys watching. Leave me a comment. I'm dying to know your thoughts on Beverly Hills. I'm dying to know your thoughts on New York. Your thoughts on Housewives or Bravo in general. And I thank you so much for watching. You can find me at Real Recaps or comment down below. I try to respond to all the comments. And thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.